Yes, mate, I hope you're good. We're back with another one today. As you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about recreational versus medical use of cannabis. Now, I think, especially in this country, but all over the whole world, this is a very blurred line. This is something that, to be honest with you, a lot of people are on one side and they think that they're recreational users, but they're using it medically. And there's people who think they're using it medically and they're using it recreationally. Now, I'm not saying everyone on each side is that, you know what I mean? You may be a recreational user and that is literally what you do. And you may be a medical user and that is literally what you do. But I do think there are a hell of a lot of people who get it confused, twisted. Sometimes it's an ego thing. It's like you don't want to claim yourself as being ill or sick or needing medication because you don't go to the doctors, you don't take pills, you don't do, and fair enough, but you use cannabis every single night to be able to get to sleep, or you can't eat without having a spliff, or you know, you're constantly having racing, anxious, anxiety driven thoughts all day until the moment where you have a smoke, or you know, you consume cannabis in some way. And obviously legally, YouTube, just in case. But I'm not demonizing these recreational users and I'm not demonizing these medical users. I just think that there's a blurred line and it's something that's worth speaking about. We were in the live the other day. I did a live. I've been doing lives every weekend now. You know, if you're ever free, jump in and check it out. We're always vibing. It's been a sick time and I love the community we're building already. We've created a Discord server. Everyone's hopping in that. Mate, the conversations going on are insane. And we've had Smokey McGreen jumped in the live the other day. We had a good chat literally about this topic. We had Smack Salad. What a fucking legend, can I just say? What a legend. Both of them, absolute legends. It was so unexpected that they both just jumped in the live and, you know, we're interacting. Smokey and myself and everyone else involved, we were on there having a good chat for a while, to be honest, about this exact topic, which is kind of what's inspired this. So shout out to Smokey as well, absolute legend. You guys will already know these people, I'm sure. If you don't, go and check their channels out. But yeah, essentially, there's a lot of people who use this plant to go to sleep every night, to eat food, to deal with anxiety, stress, to deal with chronic pain. You know, they've got terrible back pain from working certain jobs over their lives. You know, if you've been a brickie for your whole life, or a labourer, or a ground worker, I was a ground worker, you get a lot of fucking pain. And I didn't realise that I was using it medically. As I've touched on this in other videos anyway, I didn't realise that that's what I was doing, but I was using it every day. And then when I went through periods of time without using it, I felt awful, and all these symptoms and issues and struggles I was getting were coming back. And you start to realize that actually, at least when you go down the prescribed route, you know, this is a medical plant, this is medicine, this is something that's here to help us. And I just think, I don't know, I think there's a lot of people who, for example, use it to get to sleep every night. Like I said, they won't go to the doctors, they don't want sleeping pills or whatever, but they still use it. You'll get people who have got chronic pain. They may be on pills, but the pills don't touch the pain. But they have a vape or a smoke or whatever, however they're consuming, edibles, however it is they consume, and the pain's gone away for a period of time until they consume again. And they're almost feeling like they don't want to admit that it helps them in that way. For what reason, I don't fully know. I know I've been there myself where I didn't think it was that, and I think it's just because I didn't want to admit that I needed help with anything, or that I needed something to help me. But there's nothing wrong with admitting that. Like I don't think anyway. I think, you know, there's a fine line, as we spoke about in the past. There's ups and downs. There's downsides to cannabis just as much as there's positives. But for me, the pros really outweigh the cons. And when I look at other methods of treatment for the things I need, the cons are outweighing the pros for me in those aspects. So it makes perfect sense to me why I should go on medical. And then I got my prescription and I'm legal, and then, oh my God, I feel so much better about it. And then I started consuming less because I'm less stressed and I'm less constantly in this state of, I'm breaking the law, I'm doing something I shouldn't be, when I'm actually not. I'm being perfectly legal now, everything's good, I'm medicating myself. And I do think the same way there are people who are saying that they use it medically for pain or stress or certain aspects of their life, but then they're just chinning a half Z a day or a quarter a day, getting baked for the sake of getting baked. And again, as always, I say this with love. I say this from my heart. I say this because I've been in that situation. And that there is acting like you're using medically, but you're using recreationally. If you would use it regardless of the situation, even in, you might be, you say you're using it for stress, but then you're not stressed and you're still getting blipped all day. You're doing that recreationally. You know what I mean? It's like if someone's in pain and they're taking painkillers, they're taking them for the pain. But then there's certain people who get hooked on painkillers, and I would borderline say they're doing it recreationally. They're doing it for the feeling. Sometimes they're doing it to just continue the loop that their body's used to, and to, it's different. I think the main point I'm getting at is, rather than letting other people put a label on what your use is, just think about it. Like, maybe try a little, if you use it every day, try a period of time without it and see how you feel. And do you feel like, are you getting pains that you weren't dealing with as much before? Are you struggling going to sleep? Are you struggling to eat? There is many things that could be triggered by the fact you're not using cannabis, and you'll realize, wow, this plant is actually helping me medically, and I didn't even realize it. I thought I was just having a recreational blaze every night, and I'm being made to feel like a criminal and a druggie and all this other stuff that comes along with it, when in actual fact you could be jumping on the medical board with everybody else. The medical board? I don't know about that, but you could jump on board the medical bus with everyone else. Yeah, I just think that there's a massive blurred line there, and I think a lot of people are missing the trick. I had a friend the other day. He's been dealing with chronic shoulder and back pain for a long time, right? He's always been smoking to help that without realizing he was helping that, right? He's never gotten any prescriptions for it. He's never gotten any tablets or anything like that, except for over the counter. He has disagreements with his doctor. His doctor tries to give him exercises to do and apps to download. For some reason won't prescribe him stuff, which is crazy, because there's other doctors that will just prescribe you hundreds of different things and say, keep trying this, try this. So I can't knock the doctor 100%. But what's ended up happening is he's ended up getting his prescription for medical cannabis, and he's done it based off the fact that he takes over-the-counter medication. So he takes cocodamol and paracetamol, right? They're both traditional treatments for his pain. He never ever saw him blazing as medically. It was always just something he did. However, when he's had the conversation with the doctor that, do you use less of the pills, the pain medication, when you're smoking? And he said, yes, I don't need it when I'm smoking. And he's like, right, okay. So in this case, you're eligible for medical cannabis. And this is in the UK. This was like literally a week ago. He's now prescribed. He's just had 60 grams land at his door. He's amazed because he's had 12 months without this plant, because he's had demonization from family members, job, just pressure from outside saying, why'd you do that? You don't need to have that. You don't need to do that. Why does it? What? And he's been like trying to build this, like, he's basically got to a point where he's like, fine, I won't do it. I don't need it. And then he's taking more medications and he's not feeling, he said, like, I'll be honest with you, people told me I'd feel better when I stopped, but I don't feel better. I don't feel like it's made me improved. If anything, it's detracted from what I gained from it. And he said, I was only ever using it in the evenings because it's always when I get home. Whilst he's active and doing stuff, he doesn't have issues, but it's once he gets home, once he's at home chilling, he's making some food, he's winding down for the day, that's where he normally gets the pain kicking in at the most. And in the night time, he wakes up throughout the night, always in pain. And yet now he's sleeping safe and sound right through the evening to the next morning, no issue, but he's using medication for it. And that medication is cannabis flower. Like, it's mad when you think about it. He thought he was a recreational user. He stopped using. Eventually, he realised he's a medical user. He spoke to the doctors about it. He's not got any prescriptions from the NHS, but he's still got provided for a prescription for cannabis because he's tried traditional methods of treatment. And that's what it's all about. Like, I feel like that right there, just that conversation, me sharing that story is, for me, it was an eye-opener, because I've heard about that happening, but I don't know anyone personally that's had that. And as you guys know, I've been prescribed both basically methods of treatment, both talking therapies and medications for multiple different things over the years to try and help me ease my symptoms, my issues. However, this guy, he has had nothing through the NHS. He still had to screenshot his SCR, but it had nothing on it. You know what I mean? Because he has, you know, he's literally, he was like, mate, I haven't even been prescribed anything before. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it. And it's doing my head in because I can't. He's worried about his job, his family. Mainly, that's the main two things, to be honest. I think he's not so bothered about his mates, because all of his friends, they're completely open and they don't have any opinion on it. Some people have got, some people have got friends with opinions, neighbours with opinions, you name it. Their cat's bloody got an opinion about it. You know what I mean? All right, maybe that's a bit far, but you know what I'm saying. People have got a huge stigmatism about it, so therefore they would rather stay on the recreational side and be on the illegal side of things, as opposed to realise, actually, I am using this medically. This plant helps me to get through my day to day, whether it's, you know, dealing with a long, stressful day or week and trying to bring yourself down from that and back to, you know, the tasks you need to do for your life, to get your home in order, to get your family in order, to get what you need to get done, rather than being trapped in these cycles of thoughts. Or whether it's physical pain that you know, like my mate there, he struggles, he can't sleep through the night without the pain waking him up. And now, since he's got prescribed cannabis, he's not dealing with that issue anymore. It's just a mad one. I do think that it's just something that over time, it's going to be changed through conversations like this, through communities like that we're building and many other YouTubers are building. As I say always, shout out to you guys in the comments. Shout out to the other YouTubers that are doing this same thing. Anyone who's trying to push this whole medical cannabis community and show that this is everyday people. We're not, you know, not all of us are, you know, dealing with, I don't know, epilepsy or, you know, there's certain things that you can be prescribed through the NHS for medical cannabis, right? Most stuff that you can be prescribed for legally, it can't be through the NHS. I think it's like 6 conditions through the NHS. It's like 10 times that or something when you're talking. Don't quote me on the numbers, you know, but go and do your own research. Like, as I always say, don't just take anything some random geezer on YouTube sat in his car talking to his phone. Don't take everything I'm saying as gospel, right? But just take it as, we're here, we're having a conversation, I'm sharing some of my experience. You go away and create your own experience. You're living your own life. You've got your own power. You're not going to get in trouble from a doctor for asking about medical cannabis. All right, your GP, he's not going to get you in trouble, but he might not agree with it. So I don't really see the point in speaking to your GP about it. I just don't see the point. What's the need to speak to the GP about it when they can't prescribe it, they can't do anything with it. And some of them that I've seen from the comments, people go and speak to their GP and the GP is actually against it, which is a bit annoying. They're then having a battle to get their SCR. It's ridiculous. A doctor trying to stop you from getting medicine because you're not getting it through their system. Like, it's crazy. Surely, as a doctor, you just want someone to be happy and healthy, and, you know, dealing with their symptoms in the best way they can be. That's what I want anyway, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just a random geezer. So I'm pretty sure that's what everyone else wants. From the community we've got going in that Discord already, mate, I just want to say again, shout out to every single one of you. You know who you are. We sat the other night on a call. We jumped on about, I think it was about 11:30, 12. I left at about 2:30 in the morning, by the way. Went to bed, got up in the morning, and everyone was still on the call till about 9:15. Legends, just vibing, just sharing experiences, sharing pictures, stories, just life. You know, a lot of people in this scene, especially because of this whole stigmatism, which I think comes from the recreational or the black market side, let's say, in fact, not even recreational, but the black market side. This stigmatism, it can really make you end up feeling quite on your own because you don't want to share about what you're doing with people. You don't want to be open about it to friends, neighbours, family, whoever it is, because you're kind of, you're worried that they're going to make judgment or that it's going to affect you in some way. Or yeah, it is really, really mad. I think hopefully over time we can destroy the stigma and we can get it to a point where it's commonly accepted. I think we're getting there. Like it's commonly accepted by a lot of people now. You walk through a town centre and you'll smell weed 50 times while you're walking through the town centre, and people don't have as much to say about it as they did back then. However, I think over time we can still strip that way back and have it so that people do actually see it as a medicine, and see that people use it medically. Yes, there is always going to be recreational users, but think about alcohol, right? Some people will drink alcohol recreationally every so often, get smashed, have a good time, whatever. And other people are using alcohol, doctors and nurses are using alcohol to clean infections and wounds and deal with things within surgeries. And, there's all sorts that you can apply alcohol to on both sides, medically and recreationally. Now, I think the key point to remember is if you're using something recreationally, it shouldn't be all day, every day, the minute you wake up till the minute you go to bed, and you can't have a day off. Because if that's the case, I think there's something more going on. I think you're potentially treating something or struggling with something that you don't realise, and you're just masking that by putting this persona of I just like to blaze, and I'm saying this from my own experience. And what you end up doing is stripping yourself back from people and being on your own and in your own thoughts and dealing with this. And slowly but surely I've managed to pull myself out of that and realise I'm using this as a medicine now, right? I'm using it as a medicine to help me through my day to day. And through doing that, do you know how much less I use? Like, genuinely now, I use so much less. I enjoy it so much more. I consume it so much slower. Like, I used to get up and chin like a 1.5G pure, right, within about 15 minutes, 20 minutes of waking up, right? I now, on that's a regular day. I used to run my own business, so, I had nobody to tell me I couldn't. And I'd be doing that all day, every day, right? Luckily, thankfully, I had connections with friends and plugs, people I've met over the years, to be able to facilitate that for a cheap enough price. But I say cheap enough, it's crazy now when I look and think what I use in a day, even if I was to be using, like, if I felt for some reason that I needed to use it in the morning because I was dealing with a certain issue or whatever, or even if I was talking recreationally now, if I was theoretically, obviously I don't use recreationally, I use medically, but if I was to use recreationally, then even if I was on it all day right now, my tolerance has come that low through using it medically that I reckon I'd go through probably what I'd done in the first joint of the day in the whole day. You know what I mean? 1.5 Gs, something like that, 2 Gs. And that, most days, like last night, I reckon 0.5, 0.6. It was a few bowls, mate. A few bowls through the Ariza Solo 3, and I'm done. I'm medicated. I've got what I need, and I'm feeling. It's crazy, man. The way I used to feel when I was finished those morning zubbies. It was like all I needed to do was make another. Sometimes I'd be making another before I finished the one I had. Like, it is mad. And I know we spoke about other things like terpenes, and there's other reasons why it's good to get into medical, because you can start to control the feeling you're going to get from it, from the terpenes. You go down that. I mean, a big advantage of legal, I think, is the fact that you're getting clean medicine. Like, you're buying it off the street, you don't know what it is, where it was grown, is it got, people are mad. Like, on the street, you've got idiots that are, luckily, I've never bought this type of thing, but you hear of people that they've got bud that's sprayed with glass to make it heavier and shiny. Literally, people grinding glass into a powder and then spraying it over the plants. Like, to me, that's someone who doesn't care about that plant. They don't care at all about the plant or the user that is going to be using the plant in the end. All they care about is money. In which instance, I think it's worth just weighing it up and understanding, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm just digressing a bit too much there and going too deep on it. But I just think, when you go down the medical route, everything's clean. Okay, consistency is still an issue, right? There is still certain, like, you can order from one brand and it's not consistently good, and another brand it might be consistently good. But the fact is, everything on the market in UK medical isn't absolute flames. I'll admit that. There is loads that is, but not everything on the market is incredible. But you telling me if you was to take all of black market, it's all incredible? You're lying. You're outright lying. There's people selling like pond weed, we used to call it, like cellar bud. Do you know what I mean? Stinking of damp, and like, you shouldn't be consuming that. All right, just because your plug doesn't sell that and that's not what you buy, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And that's why, like, people are saying to me, "Oh, medical weed's trash," da 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 da. And I'm like, well, it's not. Some of it is, and I've definitely had flames, like top tier stuff. I've had stuff all over the world as well. I've smoked in many different countries, and had different grades. High to really not good at all, lower than low grade. That's what happens over the years when you use every day and you're traveling around the world, and you run into people, you make acquaintances with people, and next thing you've got some absolute flames or some dead pollen. Do you know what I mean? Like, my point is, I think we just need to approach the whole of the medical versus recreationally side with a bit of a different mind frame. Maybe just assess your own situation and say, actually, could I qualify for medical? After hearing what this geezer in his car sat saying, maybe I could qualify for medical, and maybe it'd actually improve my life, because I'd know what I'm doing is legal, and if I was tested at the roadside, I'm allowed to have it in my system, so long as I'm not driving impaired, which is just the same as if you take, opiates or something like that, which is prescribed by a doctor. And even like cocodamols you get in the shop, that'll say to you, don't drive if you feel impaired. If you're driving and you're impaired and you've got it in your system, different, you're going to get in trouble. But if you're not impaired, you're not driving whilst being impaired, you understand how your medication makes you feel, and you don't use it too close to the time of driving so that you don't get that feeling, then who is there? Nobody can tell you anything. I just think all these are massive positives to the medical side, where a lot of people get waylaid up in thinking that you have to basically be on death's door to get a prescription, and you have to. And yeah, I just think people overthink it well too much. After that story with my boy last week as well, it just shows you done it. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, right, these clinics, these pharmacies, like, go and look on Smack Salad's page, right? If you haven't seen Smack Salad Productions, go on his page. He was at a grow facility the other week. Oh my God, this thing was ginormous, mate. Ginormous. Absolutely colossal, right? The further left he looked and the further right he looked, there was much more and more plants. And it was like a forest, mate. It was so much plants, right? End of the day, this is being grown for money. But it's being grown for medicine for money. So, okay, I understand there's still going to be people, and you're buying government weed, I get you're going to have issues. But take your blinkers off for a second and just see the bigger picture, right? And understand that if you need to get your legal prescription, you want to be 100% legal, there is nothing wrong with going and getting involved, and some of your money, instead of going to some black market dealer who's going buying himself an RS-free cuzzy, then you can go and get yourself some medical flower that's medical grade, that if you have issues you can complain and you can get some sort of comeuppance for it most times, as opposed to on the road. It's clean, it's grown mostly with care. And yeah, I'd like to say, these companies are clearly doing it for money. Like, obviously, they're not going to do it for nothing. But that doesn't mean, that's because there's buyers there. That's because there's people willing to spend that money. And if you can just imagine, like, how many people are on the black market right now and how much money is getting spent on the black market compared to how much is getting spent on medical, it's barely anything. But it's all for the same thing. It's all for the same plant. When you think about it like that, it's pretty wild. Like, you know, this if all the, or even if 30% of the black market users moved over to medical, can you imagine how different this scene would be? Can you imagine the quality that would be demanded from people, and that if you didn't have it, it just wouldn't be getting bought? I just think there's a lot to be said for it, man. I just think there's a lot to be said for it. And I think, like I say, there's people who think that they're recreational and they're actually medicinal, and there's people who think that they're medicinal and they're actually recreational. So hopefully this chat today has kind of give you something to think about in regards to that. Apologies if it was a bit all over, you know what I mean? As you know, all these videos, I don't script, I don't plan, I just kind of turn the camera on and talk. We're just chatting it up, you know what I mean? We're just sat around the campfire type. Yeah, man. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. It's mind-blowing. We're on like 2.3k subs now, I think. It is crazy to think that. We're not even in December yet. I wonder where we're going to get to by the end of the year. Definitely going to have to get some sort of giveaway or something sorted as well, because you lot deserve to be getting given something back from me, just for all the love and the respect and the love and the understanding, and you know what, the effort you lot have been putting into growing this community as well. I see all the comments and the likes, the shares. I can see people sharing on WhatsApp. I rate yous. I rate every single one of yous. You're all absolute legends. So I do appreciate you. Don't forget, you know, we got the Discord as well. The link is on my channel. If I remember, I'll put it in the description. But yeah, join the Discord. Let's get this community buzzing. Every single one of you is legends, recreational or medical, whatever it is that you're doing. I appreciate you for being here. Even if you're, you know, you might be a doctor or a clinician or whatever it is that, and you're interested in this stuff and you're watching these videos, I appreciate you for being here. You're all legends. You're all helping grow this community at a rate that I didn't think was possible, to be honest with you. It's mad. So thank you very much. I'll leave it there for now. The sun is pretty much set now, so I'm glad we got it in before the darkness came in. Let me know what you think of this one anyway, guys. If you've got other topics you want to talk about, you know what to do. Hit them in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I can actually put that there now and it's not an issue. Maybe I should have just waited half an hour and it is what it is. But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Leave us a comment below. Let us know any topics you want covering, any opinions you've got on anything I just said. I'd be buzzing to hear them. That's what I'm here for. So thank you for being here. If you stayed until the end, drop us a 420 in the comments. I appreciate that. We had a lot of 420s in the last one, and I know how many of you must have stayed till the end then. Which is like me. That is literally what I do. I watch this type of video. I don't want to miss a trick. I want to see everything right up until the end, even if it's just the person vibing and chatting, and just like I'm doing now. So yeah, appreciate you a lot, man. Really, really, really do. Take it easy. Enjoy your Tuesday night, I think it is today. Yeah, I'm going to upload this straight away, so it'll be a live premiere thing. Hopefully I can get on there and watch the premiere with you guys as well, interact in the comments. That was really cool last time. Ezra the Plug, if you checked his channel out, go and check his channel out. It was off his recommendation. And yeah, make sure you're there for the live. So we'll be live on, it'll be either Saturday or Sunday, 4:20 p.m. until, God knows, I think we were on for about 4.5 hours last time. Mad, absolutely mad. Thank you to everyone again for being there, and for being here now. Take it easy, people. Have a good one. I've been medicated, mate, as always. And stay medicated.